I will call this meeting to order. This is the committee of the whole meeting for Tuesday, March 12th. For those here in attendance and online, please be aware that our meetings are recorded for public viewing and placed on a publicly available website. So just something to note. I will do an acknowledgement that we are on the unceded First Nations land of Ihatasat Chinnikit territory. And if somebody could approve the agenda, please.
Move to approve the agenda.
Nice, second Councillor Deck. Fantastic. Additions, deletions, anything like that? I'm hoping to move an amendment. I will move an amendment to add an item under correspondence. Just a verbal from myself, nothing too strenuous. I just wanted to ask the CAO for some information on correspondence that we receive in our box. So if we could do that.
Second that.
Okay, second that. So as amended, oh, does anybody else have any additions or anything? We're seeing none. As amended, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, so that is carried. Thank you. Next is our minutes.
Move to approve the minutes, January 9th, 2024, committee of the whole.
February 13th, 2024.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I take that one.
February
Councillor
13th,
Denise.
2024.
Do I have a seconder out there?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. Questions, errors, omissions? Seeing no hands rapidly waving, I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, so that is carried. Business arising from the minutes, anything? No delegations of petitions, correspondence. So I just wanted to ask the CAO. We get correspondence in our mailboxes that is addressed to council, and I'm just wondering if we could talk about the process that's involved in that. So anything that's in our boxes that we can bring forward to council table?
Yes, absolutely. So as the corporate officer, not the CAO, I'm responsible for receiving all correspondence to the village. Some of it is just simply junk mail, buy fax paper, such and such. That just gets filed where it needs to be filed. However, there is some correspondence addressed to mayor and council, or correspondence that is particular to the portfolio holder. So if we get correspondence about a waste management initiative, that would go into yourself and Councillor Deck's cubby hole for review. We also have, for general correspondence that's not specific to a councillor, I've created a new little cubby that just says current correspondence. That's available for all council to look at. The reason that I'm dividing out the correspondence to council in the cubbies or in that current correspondence is for council to review and each councillor or mayor to make a decision whether there's any action needed on that correspondence, whether it needs to be brought forward to an agenda or a request for a staff member to do a report for more information. So that's sort of the process with the correspondence. Is anything that could potentially be actionable, I put into the corresponding councillors cubby for review.
Perfect. Thank you for that rundown, because we have had some correspondence from citizens, from ulterior agents, from all those kinds of things. And sometimes that correspondence takes care of itself in a way that sometimes the issues don't remain the issues anymore. But I wondered what the what the appetite was to give factual information when people are writing us letters and asking questions of us. So just to that end, I just wanted to make it clear that probably at a committee of the whole, would be the best place to bring one of those items of correspondence forward and say, could we have a look at this and then receive it officially and then ask for further action on that?
Yeah, well, the official receipt is me receiving it as the corporate officer. So, but if there is something that you would like to discuss, if, you know, if there's been a letter that's come forward to council, you know, requesting a review of a bylaw. If that's given to each councillor, then from my perspective, it's up to council to request that to be on an agenda.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for that. I just wanted to ask those questions, and especially here now that we're doing public forums, I think that that's really important information for the public to have, and also just a reminder for us to bring those things out of our cubbies and to the table. Did anybody have any other questions? I didn't think so. It was just a me question. So thank you for that. I appreciate that answer. Hopefully that fills in some blanks. I know it sure does for me. Yeah. You don't need to. That wasn't really a report. That was more of just a question on process, wasn't it? Do we need to receive that?
No.
Oh, great. Moving right on to actual reports. We have a report in front of us about our tax rates. So I'll move that over to the CAO and he can allow whoever is going to present that to present that to council. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add on this. Hopefully the information's clear. We sort of went back and forth as all of staff to hopefully make it as clear as possible. How the tax rates and tax revenue work together. If council has any questions, our finance manager, Claudia Frost, would be happy to answer them.
Perfect. That leaves to council. Questions, comments, clarification on the tax rates. Councillor Janice.
I just suggest that I think there was a widespread increase in Zeballos this year on everybody's property. And
Are you meaning assessments?
assessment, yeah, property assessment. And I think it's gonna have quite an effect on their personal tax rate, their overall cost of tax for their property. I think it's gonna be a surprise for quite a few. And with that, I would suggest that probably keeping it reasonable to the 3.5% increase might be our best decision as a council. And maybe look at that again next year when things kind of settle down and become reality for this increase that's happened. Because, you know, I'd be worried for some people who run a tight budget, right? That's all I had for my input.
Councillor Deck.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I agree wholeheartedly with Councillor Justin Janice. I think it is going to be a shock for some of the villagers. And money's tight right now, so I think we should keep it down. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I had a question that I ran through Deputy Corporate Finance Officer Janice today. Just when you're looking at the graph that says tax rate scenarios, when you look at scenario number 1, so that keeps our tax rates unchanged. That means that there's an increase of $460.69. But if we raise the tax revenue by 3.5%, then it's only an increase of $40.31. And I had an issue with that because I couldn't wrap my mind around the difference between the tax rates being unchanged and the tax revenue being unchanged. So my question to Claudia is, for the average homeowner, their assessment goes up 40% this year, average, right? Will their taxes, if we increase the tax revenue by 3.5%, it's only $40.31 per $100,000 of their home's worth. Am I correct in that?
What normally often happens is when you have, which you had, it seems, a substantial increase in most of those your residential property taxes, that when we talk about the tax revenue, we're only increasing that revenue by 3.5. So if dollars, then you're only going to increase it by 3.5%.
Claudia?
Pardon, sorry?
Yeah,
Yes.
can we get you to turn off your camera? Your voice is only coming through as static.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep. We'll try that again.
Need to start over yet.
So, residents in Zeballos have had a substantial increase. Your assessment.
Still.
It's a tax revenue.
No, you're still coming through all glitchy.
Are you able to hear me? Oh, maybe it's me. Hang on. Okay. Does this make it better?
Keep talking, we'll let you know.
All right. I just took off my headset. So is that better?
Yep. So far?
Okay. Okay. So basically when you have an assessment that goes up, often your tax rate goes down, but even to generate the tax revenue increase, right? So up the 3.5. And that's where you see, I believe, sorry, I don't have that report. Your tax rate last year was somewhere around 11.5. Not revenue, excuse me. But because of the increase in the assessment, the tax rate, you will increase your revenue by that. Notice that your utilities, the value didn't change, and some of them didn't change. Like the residential changed the most. I think it increased the most, but your businesses, I don't think they did not go up 40%. But does that answer your question, Mayor?
It kind of does. It's just interesting to see it. Scenario one is based on the tax rate. And then the other scenarios are increasing the tax revenue because there's a difference between the tax rates and the tax revenue. So I just wanted to essentially make that clearer to anybody who was in the room, who was not, participating here tonight as a council member, that they were apples and oranges. The tax rate being unchanged is not the same thing as the tax revenue being increased. That's all I was trying to get at.
Yes, that you're absolutely right. But we just showed you that if you used, we wanted to show if you used the tax rate last year, you're going to have a substantial increase in your revenue because assessments went up so high.
Perfect.
What I've heard before is not what counts. Sorry.
No, thank you for that. You're still a little bit glitchy in and out. I think we kind of get the basis of it.
You say something? I'm sorry, Mayor.
You're still a little bit
In my
glitchy.
computer now. I don't know why I'm glitchy. In Toronto, you'd think, you'd think the internet would be pretty good here. You never
So
know.
essentially, all of our budget is based on that 3.5, that lowest increase to the tax revenue.
The budget that is presented to you, yes, it is based only on the 3.5 revenue increase.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Any questions from
You're welcome.
anybody else? If somebody wants to make the recommendation on page 8 of our agenda. Or I can, that council has provided input, that this counts as council providing input on the 2024 general municipal tax rate. And that staff prepare the 2024 tax rate bylaw, the 2024-2028 5-year financial plan, using a tax revenue increase of 3.5%.
Second.
Councillor Denise, thank you for that. Questions, comments?
I do.
Yes, Councillor Denise.
Do we need to provide any more information to move forward on the 2024 to 2028 5-year financial plan? Or we just reassess that again next year?
We reassess tax rates every single year.
Okay.
Yeah. I am, that's,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
No more information? No.
Yeah, no, we can't solidify that until the assessments are out and solidified by the province.
And they change those every single year. So who knows, next year we might have a 40% decrease as one of the homes sell in Zeballos, right? So it's just, yeah.
I didn't know if there's anything else. Okay.
Thanks.
Me too.
I'm not gonna honor that motion because I already have a motion on the table. I want to call the question though. All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Sorry, Barb.
Any opposed? That is carried. Next, we're gonna move on to the operating and the capital budgets. Again, to the CAO, is this to, questions to Claudia?
Correct, and Alana is also online.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make that quite so familiar. Our financial advice. Okay. Was there any questions that council had on this second report? I mean, essentially, it's just ratifying and talking through what we had already decided at previous committee of the wholes. But if there was any second thoughts or reservations about how it's all worked out now would be the time. I do want to, since no one else is waving their hand massively, I'd like to thank both Claudia and Alana for their hard work on this and trying to get it to balance even with all the bumps in the roads we've had, such as Public Works, the garbage truck, all of these little steps along the way, and the moving and shuffling that we had to do to get the COVID restart grant done away with this year and put finally to bed. So I really appreciate that. Public Works Manager Hudson would like to.
I just do nothing but spend money.
We need the things to provide the services, and we thank you for maintaining them well enough that they have lasted this long.
Yeah.
And to our previous as well. Okay, questions, comments, anybody? Anybody want to put that recommendation forward that
I'll move the recommendation as written.
Second,
we consider this conversation that we have provided input?
Something a little more specific would be,
Move that council provide that we have provided the input on the 2024 operating capital budgets, and we'd like to have staff prepare a draft 5-year financial plan to include any changes for introduction at an April council meeting.
So seeing no changes really made.
Good to go. First reading.
Second.
Councilor Lewis, thank you. I do want to say one thing, and I know that we're just kind of holding on these. And I think that that's a good thing to do this year, but I do know that next year we are going to have to consider more depreciating costs. That we are going to have to account for inflation. That we are at, and the reason we're standing on this right now, again, is the increased assessments that will change people's kind of tax rates and their overall charges. I do know that I'm hoping that there will be a fees and charges bylaw review coming up. And we'll have to take these kinds of things into account when we're doing that as well. However, there's a lot of these services that we do subsidize heavily. So just to put that out there, that's coming. Hey, all in favor of the motion, that nothing changes and we get the draft done up for April's meeting?
Right.
Right.
Any opposed? That's carried. And that, there's no bylaws.
nothing in capitals.
Oh, yes, sorry, move to the capital. Capital request major purchases. That is page 16 of 19. Questions or comments from council? None? I have two. And I think these are more. I think we need to get some more information on these two. So on the next page, on page 17 of 19, there is still at the top of the page, museum upgrade painting. Council clarification on the project extent is required. Is that something that you want us to do here and now through to the CAO?
No, that's not necessary right now. This is just strictly what money are we putting towards it. We can come back at another committee at the whole meeting prior to any project starts and sit with council and, for the amount of money that we put in, what effort would you like us to?
Amazing. So these are essentially earmarked.
Correct.
For spending, but no specific project yet. And that was the same thing with the concession stand I was going to ask. So it's come back a few times and said we need more council input. And I'm just wondering kind of when that would happen. So that's, I'm sure, as the public works manager gets quotes and things and has some further conversation with us. Other than that, that was the only questions I had. The numbers look good. You are essentially just presenting us with what we've already discussed. in previous meetings.
Correct.
So thank you for that. Do you need a motion on the capital then as well? Or is that included on the last motion that said operating and capital budget?
Yeah, it would be.
Okay. Okay, so that's good, folks. The last piece is the reserves. Is anybody have any questions about our reserves? Essentially, again, just presenting what we had asked for last time, that we put 20, 20, 20 in water treatment, wastewater collection, public works, and 15 in the foreshore improvements. Good with everyone? No changes needed. The grants are the same, and like I said, thank you for the COVID restart, getting that off the books and out of the way. All I've got, folks.
And 30 for Claudia.
Exactly. So if somebody wanted to, we don't have bylaws, we don't have any business, no in camera. There's no public to question us. Although we would appreciate anyone coming into the gallery. There's no rise and report. You want to adjourn us?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Lewis, Councilor Janice.
Thank you.
Motion, Councilor Lewis, second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Yeah, I want to keep.
That's carried. Have a fantastic evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your hard work on this and listening for the previous meetings when we asked for all of the adjustments and amendments. You've done a fantastic job.